Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmadu nasalli ala Rasulil Kareem. The first line for today. وَالْغَزْوَةُ الْكُبْرَى الَّتِي بِبَدْرِ فِي الصَّوْمِ فِي سَابِعِ عَشْرِ الشَّهْرِ. And the major ghazwa, which was at Badr, on the 17th fast of the month. So, in the second year of Hijrah, on the 17th of Ramadan, the first Ramadan, the second year after migrating to Medina Munawwara, and in the first Ramadan that was just a month before in Sha'ban was made fard, compulsory. On the 17th fast of that, on the 17th day of the first Ramadan, the Prophet ﷺ was out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and trying to capture the caravan of the Quraysh. The caravan was led by Abu Sufyan, who later became Muslim, radiallahu anhu, became a Sahabi of Rasulullah SAW. And he, at very late, like right at the end, but he did accept Islam and became a Sahabi. He's a companion of the Prophet ﷺ. As were many other Sahaba who initially were some earlier, some later. They eventually became Muslim. But anyway, at that time he was not Muslim, and he was leading the trade caravan of the Quraysh to Sham, and they were on the way back. And he figured out that the Prophet ﷺ was scouting. He had sent scouts out that were searching for his caravan, and he put two and two together and realized that that the caravan might get attacked by the Muslims. So he outflanked the Muslims, and he sent a messenger into Mecca, and a crier, a person who literally made a big scene and noise, and got the Quraysh fired up that your caravan, your wealth is about to be taken by the Muslims. And so they prepared an army. And so this battle of Badr is called Ghazwat Badr al-Kubra, or Badr al-Kubra, the major battle. So there's three actual battles that are related to the place of Badr. One was mentioned in the last session, which was that there was no actual fighting in those other ones, but they were incidents, there were military excursions, and but nothing resulted in them. This one is the famous battle, or we consider this as the first battle in Islam, pitched battle between the Muslims and the Mushrikeen. And of course, as we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called it the day of criterion, the day of Furqan, the differentiation between truth and falsehood, where the Mushrikeen, they threw 1,000 fighters at the Muslims. A Muslim only had 313, 8 swords, I think it was 1 horse, and basically they didn't come out to fight a pitched battle. The Mushrikeen came with their songstresses and beating drums, and they're going to have a party afterwards and so forth. But as we all know, what happened in Badr, they ran up. Firstly, they fled from Allah put fear into their hearts, and they suffered a humiliating defeat in which the Mushrikeen they lost 70 of their leaders. And the night before, Rasulullah SAW said that so and so will die here, so and so will die here, so and so will die here. He pointed to the place where and that is exactly how it played out the next day. So 70 of the Mushrikeen that came to fight against Rasulullah SAW, they were killed. 70 were taken as prisoners, and the rest they fled back to Makkah Mukarramah. So their intention was to come and wipe out the Muslims, and they didn't, let alone achieve the objective. They suffered a humiliating defeat. So this is one of these battles of Rasulullah SAW are important, because for someone who's been living Makkah Mukarramah and who's not known in his life to participate in warfare, and to structure a whole army, prepare an army to create right flank, left flank, and structure an army, and you'll see this coming in the battles. These are the archetype of the battles, of the great battles that are about to come, where the Muslims will face the Romans and the Persians. So the Sahaba radiallahu anhu have been prepared for not just facing the local Arabs in Arabia, but actually facing on the supposed superpowers of that time, the Persians and Rome, which they also defeated successfully by the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. So this is the battle which Muslims hold dear. It is in the month of Ramadan. It's interesting to note, generally we take Ramadan as a time for worship and rest. And the Seerah tells us something else. The Seerah, the biography of the Prophet ﷺ, teaches us that it's not a time for rest or an ibadah, it's time for ibadah and making sacrifice. It's a time where this is a month to spread Islam and Deen. So the Prophet ﷺ did not hold back in this month. The conquest of Mecca, Fathu Mecca, which is many years later, 7-8 years later, was in the month of Ramadan. So it wasn't seen as a month. This is how we should take the understanding. The Prophet ﷺ didn't see it as a month of respite from the efforts of Deen. This was a time that Rasulullah actually pushed himself even more and pushed his companions even more. So it's a month that we should see that we should work harder in it and not back down. So this is the details. Ulama have written books on the Battle of Badr. There's detailed talks, hours and hours, just about the incident of Battle of Badr. And we can listen to those to what actually happened in Badr. So Badr is a town from Medina Munawwara. It takes a couple of hours to drive out there, and you can actually go there and visit it, and it's something that we should do as Muslims. 14 of the Sahaba became shaheed there. Ubaidah ibn Haris is one of the Sahaba 14. I named my eldest son after the Ubaidah. He was the Sahaba of Badr were considered the best of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. After the 10 that were promised Jannah, the Ashar Bashirin bil Jannah, the Badri Sahaba were considered among the Sahaba the elite and the highest, they were considered the best of the Sahaba, the best of the best. And out of that, the best shuhada, the best martyrs were considered the shuhada of Badr, and the 14, and the only shaheed of Badr Rasulullah SAW buried with his own hands was his cousin, who Rasulullah SAW. So there's so many details there. He buried with his own hands, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And actually, before the battle started, Rasulullah SAW, what used to happen was they used to have a mubaraza or a duel before the battle. So 3 people came forward. Ali radiallahu. So first the Ansar stepped forward. The Mushrikeen were so arrogant, send us our peers, our equals, and they want to fight the relatives and the people from Makkah, the Muhajirin. So Rasulullah SAW said, Hamza radiallahu anhu, the line of Allah, sent Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, and he sent Ubaidah ibn Haris. Ali killed his opponent, Hamza killed his opponent. Sayyidina Ubaidah radiallahu anhu, he attacked his opponent. Both injured each other. Hamza and Ali came and killed his opponent. When they took him back, he had cut his leg, and said his bone was sticking out and so forth, and he's bleeding. And he recited poetry at that point. He asked Rasulullah SAW, actually, am I shaheed? Rasulullah SAW said, you're shaheed. And he passed away and died from that injury. And then he said, if Abu Talib could see us now, and you recite it, you can find this in Hayatul Sahaba, if Abu Talib could see us now, then he would know that we are more deserving of these couplets or these lines of verse of poetry. The line poetry, I believe, that Abu Talib recited, in protecting him, that's the Prophet ﷺ, they knock us to the ground. But in protecting him, we don't care about our women and our children, because we are more deserving of these lines than him. We are more deserving, because for him, to protect the Rasulullah SAW, and for him, because we are ready to, we don't even care about our women, children, anything of let alone anything else, in protecting him, that we will go down for him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are the sacrifices. As I mentioned yesterday, there's a sunnah of Zubair ibn Awam radiallahu anhu, name his children after the shuhada of the Sahaba. So it's something that we should know the names of these people and keep their memories, because this is the honor of our forefathers and our deen. وَوَجَبَتْ فِيهِ زَكَاةُ الْفِطْرِ مِنْ بَعْدِ بَدْرٍ بِلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ. Zakatul Fitr becomes compulsory in it, meaning that year, second year, 10 nights after Badr. So 17th is Badr, 10 nights after that is the 27th, so 2-3 days before Eid. So the first Ramadan is there, so then for the first Eid is there. Eid al-Fitr, one of the ahkam of Eid al-Fitr is that we give Zakatul Fitr, Sadaqatul Fitr, Fitrana, Fitr, and different names are given for it, obviously. But these are all one thing, which is that we give a certain amount of flour, or the equivalent is there, and there's the values are calculated by the ulama based on the current prices. But that became wajib, or that was necessary, and it was an obligation that to be fulfilled, and that was a hukm that came at that time as well. وفي زكاة المال خلف فدري وماتت ابنة النبي البري. In regards to zakat, there are differences, so learn. And passed away the daughter of the righteous Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So fi zakati, so now we're talking about not zakatul fitr but zakatul mal, meaning the zakat that if you have a certain threshold, the annual 3.5%, generally that's how we understand it. If you have wealth, beginning of the year, end of the year, you pay 2.5% on your gold, silver. There's different opinion imams, personal gold and silver. In the other mazahib are not. In the Hanafi madhab, it's something that has to be done. But on wealth, zakatul fitr, zakatul mal is done, the annual zakat. Khulfun, there is differences. Is it this year or not? There's a lot of discussion amongst the ulama. Was it become wajib this time or not? There is ikhtilaf on this. So the poet, the sheikh, the imam, rahimahullah, he's pointing out to us, وَفِي زَكَاةِ الْمَالِ خُلْفٌ فَدْرِي. So learn or beware, be alert about this. So he's mentioned it here. Probably he has the view that it was at this time. But there are many views and they have their reasonings why they feel zakat is not compulsory in this year and it was later or earlier and so forth. In regards to zakat, there are different, so learn. And passed away the daughter of the righteous Prophet ﷺ. So Sayyidina Ruqayya radiallahu anha, while the Prophet ﷺ was at Badr, his daughter radiallahu anha, Sayyidina Ruqayya radiallahu anha, she passed away in Medina Munawwara in the care of her husband, Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu, who was nursing her in her illness while the Prophet ﷺ was away. Tomorrow, those details of that, inshallah, the next session will mention. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give understanding and tawfiq. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.